What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Don't know if you guys seen it or had a chance to see it, but Curtis Stevens fought Saul Roman and knocked him out in the first round. Vicious, vicious knockout. It's probably in the top three knockouts that I've seen this year. Very reminiscent of Adonis Stevenson, Chad Dawson, another fighter who got knocked out in the first round. Um, Stevens did his thing. He did what he had to do. He knocked Roman down. And swarmed him. He was just all over him, completely swarmed him, and he could never really compose himself. And then he just caught him with the beautiful hook, and he just went down. And like I said, it was a beautiful knockout, beautiful counter. And after the fight, he said he'll hit Gennady Golovkin with the same punch. He's been calling out Gennady Golovkin. I've seen some recent interviews. He said he wants to fight. I say, hell, make it happen. At least it would be good to see Gennady Golovkin against someone who we know has shown one punch devastating knockout power with one punch in recent memory. Most of Gennady Golovkin's fighters recently, and this is nothing against it, this is facts. Gabriel Rosado, a fighter moving from 154 to 160, a tough fighter, but he wasn't known for being a devastating puncher at 154, and he was moving up in weight. Nobuhiro Ishida. I mean, if we could watch fights like that, Nobuhiro Ishida's biggest claim to fame was his win over Kirkland, and going in the ring with Paul Williams. I mean, those are his biggest fights, but he wasn't a known puncher. Look at his KO ratio and the amount of fights that he's had. And then you have Matthew Macklin, a very tough, solid fighter all around. Not necessarily the elite level, but just an overall B fighter. Just really gritty, and if you don't bring your A game, he can beat you, and he will beat you. That's what I look at Macklin. But still, none of these guys are one punch knockout guys in the middleweight division, in my opinion. So, shit, like I said, if we can watch Ishida and the promoters can make a case for Gennady Golovkin fighting Ishida, then I say, hell, why not give Curtis Stevens a chance? At least both fighters have the ability to chin check each other and see who wins and let the better man win. Um, I would like to see it. I want to see what Gennady Golovkin's chin's like, and also what Curtis Stevens' chin is like. Curtis Stevens' opponent tonight definitely wasn't a world beater. He wasn't a world class fighter. He had 9 losses, but he's a fighter with experience. All of his big losses are really from big name marquee fighters. He got knocked out by Jesus Soto Caras, and we've seen Soto Caras look good against Andre Berto recently. He got stopped by Sergio Martinez, another fighter who is regarded as a great champion. He lost to Gabriel Rosado. I think it was a split decision. He gave Vanes Matarosen some problems early, and I believe knocked him down. And Matarosen went on to stop him. But these again are good names. Like if you're gonna lose to anybody, why not it be these guys? I mean, these are solid competitors. So, Saul Roman, Curtis Stevens' opponent tonight, again, he wasn't a world beater. He wasn't um, just the truth, but just an overall solid test that you couldn't take lightly. And he has a high KO ratio himself. So, you got to give Curtis Stevens props for disposing of him in better fashion than really all the guys that I listed. And I listed some quality fighters. None of them got Saul Roman out in one round, and in the fashion Curtis Stevens did. Like I said, he knocked him down. He swarmed. He was all over him, and he just put him away with that shot. And it was disgusting. So if you haven't seen it, check my description. I'll leave the link. I can't put it on my page because I'm weary as what I put on my page in terms of copyright. I can't have no copyright infringement. Some people hate ego. So that would be a bad look if I have stuff that's not my content on my page. You know how that goes. But I give props to Curtis Stevens. I thought this would be a fight where Saul Roman could test him again, a fighter with respectable power who's been in there with seasoned names. And I thought he had the ability to bring the best out of Curtis Stevens. And he did, but in a different fashion. He wasn't really competitive at all. And Curtis Stevens, like I said, he just bullied him, swarmed him. One thing that I do like that he did really well, Curtis Stevens, that is that hook. He's a hooker that left hook. It's very reminiscent to Danny Garcia to me in terms of how he times his hook. He throws it in the middle of his opponent's combination, and that has the ability to fuck you up because you're too busy trying to land your own punch, and he's planted and he's getting the proper leverage on his own punch, and you're not worried about taking something, and in the middle of it, bow, you just get caught with something. So Danny Garcia is another fighter that does that, punches in between his opponent's combination, and just has a beautiful timed, accurate left hook, and that's what Curtis Stevens is showing. So, like I said, Gennady Golovkin, make the fight. I mean, I want to see it personally. I would want to see it. Some of you guys don't know who Curtis Stevens is, but again, neither is Nobuhiro Ishida. He's not a household name. Neither is Curtis Stevens. So shit. At least you're putting two guys in there with firepower, two guys that have devastating one punch knockout power. So I say make the fight happen. Curtis Stevens is on a win streak. He's had some first round KOs in his recent fights. I think the fight could be made. Um, as far as Gennady Golovkin, yeah, I want to see him fight Peter Quillen. I want to see him fight Chavez Jr. But realistically, how likely are those fights for November? They're talking about getting Gennady Golovkin back in the ring in November. So I just don't see it. Chavez Jr. is fighting Brian Vera at 168. And, I mean, he still has to pass that test and beat Brian Vera. Peter Quillen, I don't know exactly, but he's with Golden Boy, so who knows? Because Gennady Golovkin's been fighting on HBO. Who knows if that fight can be made? But Curtis Stevens is a fight that I think can be made based on no promotional beefs or anything like that. And again, it's two guys with power. So if you can make a case for Gennady Golovkin to mow through Ishida, why not put him in against a fighter who's looked good in his last couple of fights, had impressive first round knockouts, and has devastating one punch knockout power and is calling them out. Curtis Stevens is on Twitter. He went on Twitter. He said, "Your favorite boxer, I'll kill him." And he tagged Gennady Golovkin. I think they can make a good storyline. The commentary could be good. Again, two fighters with firepower. And people want to see Gennady Golovkin pitted against different people because he has the power. So put him in against another fighter who has power. That's what I think. And see how Gennady Golovkin's chin is as well as Curtis Stevens' chin. Somebody's chin is going to get tested and probably get rocked. So I think that makes for an exciting fight. Let me know what you guys think. Curtis Stevens versus Gennady Golovkin. Who wins? Do you want to see it? Like I said, I'd love to see it. Gennady Golovkin looked good in his last performances. He looks destructive. Curtis Stevens shows he has power. And it doesn't. Another thing that I like about the Gennady Golovkin Curtis Stevens match is I don't think Curtis Stevens is the type of person, just from knowing his background. He's from Brooklyn. He's from New York. Just that New York mentality. The demeanor I get from him in interviews, he doesn't look like the type of person that's going to fight scared, even if he did get knocked out by Gennady Golovkin. If he gets knocked out, he gets knocked out. But he doesn't look like the type of fighter that is going to mentally break based on the fact that Gennady Golovkin has this aura surrounding him about his power, which is good because I think fighters like Macklin definitely fought scared. Curtis Stevens talked about this at the end. He said no disrespect to Macklin, but Macklin fought scared. I agree with him. He felt Gennady Golovkin's power, and he seemed very timid. And usually that doesn't fare too well for fighters when they fight jittery or fight scared. Mosley did it against Pacquiao. It just he got knocked down, and it seemed like he never really stayed composed. And staying composed is huge. So I just think Curtis Stevens, whether he gets knocked out by Gennady Golovkin or whatever happens, I think at least he won't go into the fight intimidated of Gennady Golovkin's power because he knows that he possesses power himself. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see this Curtis Stevens versus Gennady Golovkin? If not, who would you rather see Gennady Golovkin fight? I think it could be fireworks. Let me know. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.